Let's talk about this Ferrari. Why is the story so unusual?
It was in a garage in Southern California, and as typically happens in that area this time of year, you had a wildfire that went through a neighborhood. Car was in the garage, house was on fire, and then it happened to have a living quarter above the garage which fell on the car after the building was compromised, and after that the rest of the car burned. Everything that you see here that was not made of steel was gone.
Okay, an inner MPI.
Well, when we got it, everybody basically walked around and scratched their heads. Where do we start? Well, you start collecting all of the pieces that are easy to come by. You can get wheels, you can get tires, you can get brake components, stuff like that. A lot of the stuff we make in-house. Big challenges: windshield trim. But the biggest challenge of all is we need to bring the shape of the car back to the way it was when it rolled out of the factory. But we don't want to replace these panels. It's a rare car. There are many of them. You start replacing panels, and then it's not retained. So what we did is we scanned the sister car digitally, created a wooden buck, and then we were able to remove the metal panels through factory seams, rehammer them, reshape them with our power hammer, with English wheel, bag and hammer, and then we re-weld them back onto the original factory Pininfarina seams, and here you go. We have been able to retain 75% of the original vehicle.
What about the engine?
The engine was a bit of a trick. It was still there. We had a little bit of an imbalance, out of line. We were able to line bore the block, and it's still the original, quote-unquote, numbers matching. We have the original engine, original transmission, original differential. All of that was able to be saved, but with a little bit of work.
Yeah, no kidding. Inside, it's absolutely gorgeous. You did the upholstery.
Correct. We do all the upholstery in-house.
And you did the top.
Yep. We do basically really the only thing that we can't match do in-house is plating, and that's strictly because it's just not worth it for us to do. Let somebody else worry about that.
Yeah, so you're talking about the bumper. You send that out to a chrome plater.
We can make the bumper. We can make the trim. Like if you look at the windshield is made out of about 13 different components out of brass that we had to scan off of that sister car. We had to CNC machine and then have chrome plated.
That's absolutely incredible. And this car is gorgeous. Tell me a little bit more about the car, the PF. What is that?
PF, it's kind of a nickname for Pininfarina. That was the coach builder at the time. When Ferrari, when they were making cars, they made the chassis, the engine, the driveline, and then they would farm the coach works out, as it was called, to Zagato, Pininfarina, Scaglietti, Ghia, Touring. There were some of the other bigger names. And they would clothe the car. They would put all the electricals they put on, all the trim they put on. They painted the car. They put the body on it. They put the interior on it. So it was a collaboration with a lot of really very, very talented people.
Now, if this thing was burned, I imagine the wiring harness was like toast.
It was a bundle of copper, basically. Thankfully, we have a lot of very, very experienced technicians that are able to recreate that wire harness down to the last color tracer on the sleeve.
You create the harness?
Correct.
You don't buy it from a supplier?
No, you can.
Oh, yeah.
We are the supplier.
Okay. And I noticed in that same department something about coils. What is that?
Yeah, we make our own ignition coils. They are serviceable as well. They are period correct, B5, B7, Magneti Marelli. We've started there. We plan to expand further from those. But yeah, it's something that you really can't buy anymore. Nobody makes them. I mean, Magneti Marelli is obviously still in business making components for modern cars, but they don't make those coils, so we make them.
Now, you said something about the distinctive wheel on the Ferrari. What is that?
Oh, the Barani wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the case of this vehicle, in some of the pictures, you'll note the before picture, you'll see a pile of spokes, a hub, a knockoff. The stuff that's actually made out of steel. But the aluminum wheel that the tire mounts to, that was gone. So luckily we have a partnership with Barani of Italy, and we're able to refit the correct wheels that go with this car.
That's a sign I saw in your lobby, Barani Americas.
Correct. We are the authorized dealer for North Central and Southern America.
Boy, beautiful car. What a job. You never dream it had been burned out and crushed.
Yeah, it was, thankfully it went from scratching our heads to just putting our noses down and getting it done.